Taskmaster again for our Monday Night Live update for LEOGlossary and the projects going on there. Um, so Taskmaster's here with me. How was your weekend?
Pretty good, pretty good. How was yours?
All right. Did some family stuff. My sister's in town from California, so we were
And those
visiting last night, and then she took my dad up to my other sister's house. So
good stuff.
yeah. So what is going on Leo Glossary?
I don't really know. I mean, it's every day it's all over the place. There's just so many tentacles. I uh I really there's no plan to it at this point because a lot of things are just up in the air. Some of it beyond our control, a lot of it beyond our control. But one thing that I turned my focus upon, we got polls back at least on threads, and that was a very positive development. The biggest thing was the half SQL got running again. It totally synced up, and we didn't lose the polls on the stuff we did before. So that was a concern that, there were probably close to 400 songs that had polls on them, and those are still in effect. And since that time, I probably had another 100 or 150. So we're growing that and adding to the singles pages, and we're closing in on 5,000 songs on the artist pages. So that's a that'll be a good accomplishment. We're another couple hundred away. So it's just getting more data onto the blockchain, getting the data in there, getting stuff that has stickability, like I talked about in the Lions Den. I think these polls are great because it's an interactive tool that, if it has stickiness, we can build a pretty large database over time.
Yeah, I noticed my my video in the in the video post that I did on Threads wasn't showing up. I don't know if it's, it's a broken link. I guess I don't know.
Well,
Anyway,
yeah, links are still a problem. I think I always use the embed, and the embed you have to go in and use the edit. That's
okay.
still temperamental. If you put it, it'll be in your profile. Um, but if you put the thread with the embed in at the same time, it shows up in your profile. It doesn't show up on the main
Right,
feed.
it's showing up on YouTube. Refuse to connect
Oh, that. Oh, okay. You use the link. Yeah, that
because it's
does.
got a. I put the embed, but
Oh, I don't know what it is then.
yeah.
So these are some challenges that we have to deal with. They're funky in nature, so you just deal with them.
As they come.
Yeah, it's any project like this. If I was just on a call that was recorded before this, and I mean, you got to be looking out 2 years on this stuff. Um, I mean, it's I don't really care where the UI is today. It's where's it going to be in 2 years, and that's what a builder does. I mean, it's if you think any of this stuff is going to be the same in 2 years, it's not. But to compare this stuff to apps that have been out there 10, 12 years, it's not going to rival that either.
They had bumps in the road too. I mean,
Yeah, I wasn't much of a social media person, so I don't know, but yeah, I imagine they did. I mean, you know, I I don't imagine Facebook, how it looks today, was how it looked in 2005.
Yeah, I don't think I was on there in 2005.
I'm not on there now, so I can guarantee that. But it's just that's the nature of development and technology. And I mean, Amazon wasn't the company it is today in 1997. Just takes time to build. And that's why I say with Leo, you better be a builder, you better not be a user. And everybody wants users, and users are worthless because all they do is fret, piss, and moan, and they leave because things aren't perfect. Well, you're not cut out to be an early adopter. And that's really what it comes down to, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's going to be perfect. And if you're looking for perfect, you ain't going to find it here, but you,
No,
you you have to want to help build it. I mean,
oh, you're preaching to the choir. I agree with you. If you have Leo, why aren't you building something? And I don't get these people who say, I don't know what to build. Okay, if you have no ideas, dive into something that other people do. There's enough stuff on Leo now between what Mike possibly is doing, what Caleb Marvel's doing, what um, Adam Barrett's doing
with the books.
with the books and travel. He's doing
Oh, yeah,
books.
the travel.
Bradley Arrow's doing stuff with memes. I mean, there's some people doing stuff with jokes. Then you got music on Leo, you got movies on Leo, you got Leo. I mean, there's just enough stuff for people to do. Playlists. I, I mean, dive
Well,
in, do something.
it froze. Oh, okay. Um, so yeah, what was I was mapping out a container myself. Now, if I did a mega container of like all the shows like in the Dick Wolf, all the Law and Order and all that. So I'd do a mega container for that. Could I put it up in the mega container that Mike possibly is doing for television shows, or would that be a special or a
No,
separate?
you don't even need to set up a mega container. As you set up a container for Law and Order, throw it in the mega container for television shows. As you make a mega container or a container of whatever you just said, SUV or whatever, throw that up. Um, or if you wanted, you could make your own mega container with shows you like and put those containers in a mega container, then put the mega container in there. There's really no rules. I mean, might possibly can't stop you from putting anything in there. Um, but what you want, I mean, it's so if you decide you want to create, these are my top five favorite shows of all time, and you create a container for each of them. They're television shows. You create a container for each of them. You put them in your own mega container. These are my top five favorite shows. Then you put that in the television show mega container. Fine. And I think that's very important because Web3 is. I'm I'm going to be writing a video. I'm going to be writing an article in the morning about Elon, and Elon has reaffirmed that they're going to be probably this week releasing an app that goes on smart TVs and that's designed to compete with YouTube. YouTube, what do they call it, Red or whatever? The YouTube
Well, now it's YouTube Premium and they have YouTube TV.
YouTube TV or whatever. It's so he's going after the same mark. He's trying to duplicate YouTube and become effectively a broadcaster. Um, and he'll probably start with just you know videos that are on YouTube or on
Hmm.
excuse me, on X. But at some point he'll probably seek to cut deals with different channels and networks and whatnot. But the point being, video is where it's at in terms of social media. And a blog post by X even said 8 out of 10 uh, activities on X involve video. 8 out of 10. These are their own numbers. And X was the text based short form microblogging capital of the world.
Right.
8 out of 10. So that's where the world is. And, if we're not putting a ton of video stuff on Leo, we're missing out. And right now, the only thing we really can do is embed stuff because we don't have the ability to upload on the Leo. Okay, fine. But everybody should be creating these containers of whatever they want just so it's there and spreading it around.
I'm having a wonky connection here. Could you repeat what you just said because it cut out like 3 times?
I said basically 8 out of 10 activities on X, according to their own blog, is video.
Wow. Okay.
So this was the text-based micro-blogging capital of the world, and now they say 8 out of 10 is video. So this is where Web3 in general, but Leo in particular, is missing out. If we are not putting video on Leo, we're not catering to what the masses are after. And yes, I know we can't upload stuff at this point, so we have to go with the embed route. But we should be embedding as much video as we can because it far outpaces gaming, it far outpaces audio, and it certainly far outpaces text.
Yeah, people seem to be very visual. They want it's
Yeah,
like
it's so prevalent. It's so cheap these days. Video
Mhm.
used to be very, very expensive. Now it's so cheap that, and for just an individual, you blast it off on your laptop or your phone and you throw it up on TikTok or you throw it up on YouTube or whatever. Boom, there it is. So, it's not like it was 20 years ago where it was a massive undertaking. And yeah, the fact that it's so prevalent, so easy to do, and given a choice, people aren't going to read. They're going to sit there and watch a 5 or 7 minute video. That's what we need to cater to.
now like on is X the same like for video you have to have the premium or whatever it is to
I don't know enough about the platform. I have no idea.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know what they set it up as. I presume there's direct uploading. Um, so I don't really know about that. But
Okay.
again, if you're a Mr. Beast, you're going to get monetized. But if you're me and I throw up a video on there, I mean, even if I do well and I get 300 likes, which would be probably bigger than anything I've gotten, what's that going to do? Nothing. So I don't know. I see. I put up a thread and I said people are too busy chasing pennies and passing up dollars. And I see so many people on Leo saying, "Oh, I got to work on my X building." Why? Why?
You're gonna kill yourself trying to get monetized on those platforms.
Exactly. Exactly. And you come into if you come into the threadcast of the Lions Den, your ass will get upvoted 3 or 4 times if you maybe more. I mean, I go and upvote most of the comments. Okay, you're not getting rich off of it, but you know what? You're getting more out of that threadcast than most people get from Twitter or from YouTube for that matter. And you could be brand spanking new. Leave a comment, I'll upvote it. I don't care. Or a thread, you know, but they just have to run out there and I got to improve my X presence. Why?
And they don't care about anybody there. I mean, you have
No.
to.
And this is part of the conversation I had earlier. It's all about data. And these people are just feeding Elon Musk more data. Okay, proportionally speaking, it doesn't matter. It's, you know, if I go on and make 20 tweets, I mean, there's 500 million a day. So what am I really adding? But you know what? If I do 20 threads, that makes a difference.
And not that it matters a lot, but we don't have an algorithm here that's going to kick you off.
No, but we have an algorithm that hopefully at some point will start recommending shit, and that's important to feed into that. See, this is where people don't think, and you know, it's so important for us to get data on chain, crucial, and then to repurpose that data. And I don't care whether it's an embedded video that effectively is a thread, and you repurpose that 3 times. Wonderful. I mean, when I go through and edit a movie page, I'll take the YouTube video trailer that's on the page.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go to threads. I'll drop it in threads. Then I take the thread and embed it in the movie page. So now the trailer's right there. It's in the thread, but they have the thread. So it's kind of like how people, when they create an article, they'll put a tweet in there.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing. I put a thread in, but the thread's the trailer. That makes, is that a huge difference? No. But it's again repurposing the data so that way it's all utilized again and again and again.
So is that like a link to the or yeah, the link to so
You
you like
just
your
grab the
link.
URL. If you're writing a
Mhm.
post, you grab the URL of a thread and you just drop it, you paste it right into your long form writer. It
Okay.
shows up as a thread. It automatically defaults as a thread. It shows it just like it does in threads.
So it's basically you're rethreading something into the long form article.
Effectively, yeah. I mean, there is no rethread. You have to copy and paste the URL, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, it gives you the same result. It's in your long form post. So you just drop the URL, you drop the link into your long form post of a thread, and it pulls the thread. It reads the thread. Now I don't know how that'll show up in Peak D, but in Leo IO, in Leo, it shows up as a full thread. Peak D or High Blog might show up as the URL, but whatever.
And threads don't show up at all in Peak D.
Yeah, it's probably the URL. So whatever. I don't read out of Peak D anyway, so I write for in Leo. So I could care less how things look on Peak D or High Blog.
Yeah, I find it makes more sense to just focus on the one platform. I know I have like for my long form, I'll compose in Peak D because I put the snippets in there and stuff like that. But I just copy and paste it into my Leo long form um, blog post.
Yeah, I mean, however, some people write their posts in Word or something and copy it over. I mean, I used to write my posts in Peak D because there's time there where Leo Finance was just so unstable. You know, I, half the time the autosave wasn't working, and I just didn't want to lose it. So
Right, right.
But that's been stable at least. But again, this is where, and this is the point of Leo Glossary. It's the point of Leo Linker. It's the point of Music on Leo. It's the point of polls. It's the point of all of this stuff. Is there is no grand, in my view, or from my perspective, there's just no silver bullet here that's going to solve everything. It's a lot of little things done over and over and over and over again to start building this stuff. And it takes a lot of days of putting up 40 songs till you get to 4,000, till you get to 10,000, till you get to 15,000. I mean, that's just how it works. And that's why I try to focus. I mean, I have to balance my time between time sensitive stuff and sticky stuff. And because many people aren't doing the news on Leo, I have to do stuff with that today. But today I went on YouTube and I just went to ABC News and went to their videos and I started grabbing. They have, 3-4 minute videos of whatever their stories are, some of their stories. And I would just copy and paste them into Leo. I copied the title, then I put news on Leo, and then I submit the thread. Then I edited the thread and embedded the video. So now news on Leo actually has the videos in it. Sure, tomorrow nobody will give a shit, but there's a video for somebody to watch of the news. And it's not a full newscast. It's just a story about whatever. You know, just like the news is. Just it's just what they post on YouTube. And you could do that for any news channel. You could do it. I mean, I only looked up a couple. What I look up? BBC has them. ABC News has them. Al Jazeera has it. Sky News has it. I'm sure CNN does the same thing. I'm sure Fox does the same thing. NBC does the same thing. CBS does the same thing. I don't even know, different news channels around the world. Um, but you just grab this stuff. I mean, Yahoo News. There's, I think, Yahoo News, a Yahoo Finance channel. I mean, all this stuff, they do stuff. Tomorrow I'll probably end up grabbing some CNBC clips. But this is stuff you can throw up there and people might watch. I mean, it's just all trying to build the value.
Yeah, there is some, I mean, a lot of stuff is on there isn't going to be evergreen, but it's going to be like archive. Like if you want to, there's some, for historical purposes, like we were talking about before.
Well, yeah, except that they're through YouTube and it's through ABC News or CNN or whatever. And so you'd really have to upload that content to like Three Speak or something and then link it in. But it's something. It's there. And
Mm-hmm.
what you could do then is a lot of this stuff. If you grab the transcript and then post that on blockchain, that then you have the transcript. But all this stuff needs to be going on there from just a practical value built in the database to, if you're, I don't want to say conspiracy theorist, but
Mm-hmm.
if you're worried about the powers that are rewriting history, which I think they are to a degree, without, if you're worried about them, you know, trying to manipulate through misinformation, you know, blockchain is the solution. So, you know, posting on there the date that President Lincoln was assassinated, do that because there, at least it's there. It's on a public database,
Mm-hmm.
this different stuff.
So, is there anything new from the? Was there? There wasn't an AMA this last week. Would they do
Yeah, there
that?
was.
Oh, there was.
On Tuesday there was. Yeah, and that's where we still didn't have half sequel going, and I think that came online Thursday or Friday. Cal was hoping it'd be online the next couple of days, and so that was the big change for the week. And I think the dashboard was working for a while. Then it kind of went squirrely. So the leaderboard is back for the daily activity. It's not really back for the weekly activity yet. It's just, they're still working through bugs. But, I mean, it's to the point now where the site is relatively stable. So I think from that perspective, it's a positive. Um, and it's certainly a positive for me. And this was what the whole show, the Lion's Den, was on Friday, was about polls. I think polls are a great way for anybody to help fill the database because just create polls, sticky polls. What's your favorite color? Red, blue, pink, or black? Give those choices. You know, which city do you want to most visit? Paris, New York, or Tokyo? I mean, anybody can create these things. And again, as I've said over and over, that poll, which city do you want to most visit? You can answer that today, or you can answer that in 5 years. It's
The answer might be different in 5 years.
Yeah, but if you're answering a poll in 5 years, you're answering based upon whatever you want.
Right.
It's unlike who's going to win the 2024 presidential U.S. election. The day after the election, that's an irrelevant poll. You see that in 4 years, it's like, who cares? It's like who's going to win the Super Bowl, the Chiefs or the 49ers? Well, unless the Chiefs or 49ers are next year's Super Bowl, it's an irrelevant question right now. We know the Chiefs won. Those are time sensitive, but a poll about, do you prefer coffee or tea? How do you drink your coffee? Do you sleep with the bedroom door open or closed? Um, do you prefer a bath or do you prefer showers? Do you prefer pickup trucks or SUVs or sedans? These are just simple questions that people can answer, and they create activity, and you get people commenting it. And I had it the other day where there were some polls that got 8 or 10 votes in the poll.
Hmm.
They had, six or seven, the thread had 6 or 7 page views, and there was maybe 7 or 8 comments. I mean, do that 1,000 times a day.
So I noticed in the party room, you had a thread, and then did you like embed the when you like go to the original post to vote
Well,
on the
again, I would just grab the URL of the thread and throw it in the party room. The problem is when you rethread or do anything with a thread with a poll in it, the poll doesn't show up.
right?
And it
Okay.
glitches. So when I take the thread with the poll in it and I drop it in the party room, you only see the top part. You don't see the poll. But the poll's there, but you can't see it. You can't vote on it. So you have to click on the thread, open up the thread, and there's the poll. Again, that's one of the glitches. We're not perfect. We don't have polls on long form yet. We don't have the rethreading of polls. I mean, you can rethread a poll like anything else. It's just the poll didn't show up. So what the hell good is that? I mean, unless you say, well, open up the thread, which most people aren't going to do. So again, it's not perfect, but for those in the party room, I can get away with it because most of the people in the party room have a little wherewithal. That it's like, okay, I just click on the original thread, the poll opens up, and there's the poll. So I see the questions and I see my options, and I can vote on it. But the average person isn't going to do that. If you just rethread a poll and you don't make any note about that, the average person is just going to see the question, with the tag and say there's no poll here. So
So now when you're creating the polls and the songs, you're not tagging polls in each
no,
of the
no,
songs.
no, because that's being captured through Music on Leo. That's something totally different. I'm not going to use the tag polls for polls on the movie pages. No, it's I don't use it for a poll. Is just a simple poll. Uh, Music
Okay.
on Leo. That's a song, and included in the song is a poll. Um, but I'm not going to put the poll tag in there um, because I don't even know what you'd end up seeing in the poll. I mean, I guess you could find it there, but the the idea of Music on Leo is for people to find it through the search of uh, searching for Queen or Van Halen or Led Zeppelin or whoever, or finding it through Music on Leo or some of the pages we set up.
So
You
then
know, and ultimately, the idea, Lisa, is to start sharing all this shit. The idea is to start throwing it out on social media. The idea is to rethread it. The idea is to repurpose the content. That's what it's there for. That's how shit explodes and goes viral on Twitter, on just any social media. It's You have to take it and repurpose it and get it out there and get more links to it and get more ways to drive to the data. And you know, that's the problem with threads is you post a thread, 10 threads later, your thread's gone forever. You're never going to see it again, nor is anybody else. I mean, it may show up on a For You page. But then again, we know, well, we don't know, we're told the recommend feature is going to come to threads. We already have it on um,
one.
posts, which, okay, it kind of sucks. Cal admitted that. But there's value in that. So if at some point in time we get this recommend algorithm, every song we put up, there should be another song because the recommend probably is going to go by the tags. So if you have music on Leo, it's probably going to recommend another music on Leo thread. And it may recommend the same group. But, these are all things. And as I've said before, the more of this shit that gets built, and what I mean by that is the more stuff we build, the more we can go and leverage Cal. And people, I don't think people quite understand that. And in fact, I sent out a thread and Cal actually commented and he said, yes, that's how you do it. Build a proof of concept, get people active, get people backing it, get it filled, then take it to Cal and say, listen, we got 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 of this. Build us this. Well, he's apt to listen. He's not apt to listen when somebody just puts up an idea in the feedback and says, this is what would be a good idea. I mean, he might, but it's not going to carry a lot of weight. Music on Leo is not a secret to Cal. We've gotten that in front of him enough. What does that get us in the long run? I don't know. It'll get a lot more when we have 25,000 songs. I can guarantee you that. And when we have 10,000 songs with polls in them, and if we're sharing it all over the place, then, a case could be made that, hey, we need some UI dedication here. But with two people doing it, you're not getting anywhere. But two people doing it over a period of time is going to get you a hell of a lot further than somebody just saying, I have an idea. Well, so what? Cal probably.
Lots
What's
of
that?
people have ideas.
Yeah, really. Well, actually, what I'm learning is most people have no ideas. What do I do? How do I build a business? Your account's a business. What are you going to do? I don't know. Post about the price of Bitcoin. Okay, that'll get you far. There's builders and there's users, and that's really where I challenge anybody. If you're on Leo, are you a builder or are you a user? And I can tell you what you are just by looking at you. Not you looking at you, looking at your activity.
Right,
I
right.
can tell. I mean, somebody says it's been 3 days since I wrote a long form post. What the fuck? You're not serious. You think Elon Musk goes 3 days without thinking about rockets? You think Elon Musk goes 3 days without doing something with his cars? You think Elon Musk goes 3 days without doing something with X? No.
It's more likely he goes 3 days without sleep.
Yeah, that could be true too. But yeah, it's people reveal what they are, and unfortunately, people are delusional about what they are, and you just have to look at the effort. You look at the activity. You look at what people are doing. Ignore what they say. What do you do? And I said, give me 20 people who are over the top, probably borderline neurotic, and I'll turn Leo into $100 million enterprise. The $100 million is not the challenge. You know what the challenge is? Finding the 20 people. Because a lot of people say they are, but very few are. And you can tell after a period of time, they start off very strong, and then what happens? They disappear. I mean, most don't even get started. But the ones that do, it's like they disappear. I mean, I jokingly post a lot of mornings. Another great day to post on the blockchain. Fill the blockchain. That's what I do. That's what I show up every day and do. And I've been doing that for a long time. This isn't something I just started 6 months ago.
Well, it's been a while.
It's been a while. But people wonder, it's like, how come everybody knows you? Because I'm consistent and I'm everywhere. You are not going to be on Leo for too long without seeing my name. That's the key. Now, how many people remember Django? Think about that. Who thinks about Django? I did a show with him for almost 3 years, twice a week.
Hmm.
Days go by, I don't think about Django. I mean, I think about him every day anyway. But he's not around. Out of sight, out of mind. And the guy was dedicated to the chain. The guy was active. The guy was consistent. Life circumstances got in the way, but guess what? Anybody who thinks they'll be remembered, they're foolish. We're not that important.
No.
And so if you want to be noticed, you better do certain things. If you want to stay noticed, you better do certain things. And part of it is to keep showing up. And the part of it is to be everywhere. And if I go a month without showing up every day, I'll be the person who you say, remember that Taskmaster dude? Whatever happened to him? Because that's what happens to everybody. So why are you here? That's my question to everybody. Why are you here? What are you doing? You want to put up pictures of charts of Bitcoin going over 70 grand? Fine. What value is there in that? Because tomorrow Bitcoin will be 75,000 or 65,000. But who gives a shit about your chart from today? Doesn't matter.
When moon.
Yeah, one more. It's and while we're at it, in between Ethereum prices and Bitcoin prices, here's a picture of my lunch. I mean, it's, and I'm not saying that that stuff's not important on social media. I'm not saying that that stuff's, to not post that stuff. But if that's all that it is, who cares? And you're telling me you're dedicated, you're loyal. Okay, you don't have to do what I do because one advantage I have is I have the time. I understand people have work, they have families, they have kids, they have, responsibilities. Okay, fine. But what are you doing when you're not attending to them? Because I know you don't do that 24/7. I'm not talking you, I'm talking you in
Right,
general.
right.
I mean, it has to be a priority. And it's like, well, to most people, there's just a little social media site. Well, I spend time digging into Web3. I spend time digging into network science. I spend time digging into digital platforms so I know what the hell we're dealing with. And that's what I try to bring to LEOGlossary. Well, there's a reason why it's going in 8,000 directions at one time because you never know where the hook is.
So right now, I mean, the major things are music on Leo, the travel.
What music? What LEOGlossary things? My things? What are you talking about?
The major projects on like the major like things going into Leo Glossary.
Well, I mean, travel on Leo has nothing to do with LEOGlossary. I'm not capturing anything there.
Okay, all right.
Um, that's Adam, and
Yeah, I
he
had a
uses.
misunderstanding.
No, those are just things on Leo that people can get involved in. So, I mean, I think, okay, I think the point I was making is, and I'm sorry for moving this around. I'm
Okay.
obviously not at my place, so I'm on my laptop, and the laptop's literally in my lap. But no, why I mentioned that is when I say your Hive account's a business, your Leo account's a business. Invariably, people say, "I don't know what to do." And it's like, and this was said on the AMA because what Cal mentioned, he said, like Taskmaster says, your account's a business. And I even put in the comment section during the AMA in the threadcast, I said, if you don't know what to do, get involved with something that's already there. And so that's why earlier I was saying, what's here? Well, you have Bradley Arrow with memes. You have travel on Leo. You have um, books on Leo. You have jokes on Leo. You have music on Leo, which obviously is what we're doing. You have the party room, which is kind of tied to music on Leo, an
Hmm.
offshoot of it. Then you have playlists, which obviously are music on Leos. You have the containers. Then you have the mega containers that might possibly is set up. And using that idea, I mean, you know, I've still said, I mean, I've been saying for months, how come there's no fucking recipes? Where's recipes on Leo? That could be a freaking container. Recipes could be a mega container. Um, there's just so many different ways when you start to think about this. And again, if you can't think of anything on your own, and maybe you don't want to, fine. Join what else is out there. It's
Help build that.
yeah. Go help Bradley and post memes. Uh, polls. I mean, polls are now their own thing. Go post 5 polls.
So now, if it's a poll that's not in music on Leo, you are tagging the poll, like
Yeah, if
tagging.
I say what's your favorite color, red, white, or blue, even though white's not even a color, but yeah, I'll use the tag polls. Um, you know, do you want to visit North America or South America? Yeah, that uses polls. You know, Hotel California. Here's the song. Rate this song. That's not getting the polls. The tag. Um, because ultimately, I hope things get straightened out. And again, if there's enough damn polls and we can show Cal there's enough sticky polls, Maybe we go to them and say, Cal, you need to create a section that says polls and that polls all the polls. And maybe have the AI reading and Leo AI reading, what the question is, and then kind of categorizing them, or setting up where we can categorize it or something like that. Click to a new page on the UI on the menu, and you go to a polls page, and then people can search around with polls. They can add polls, they can comment on polls, they're clicking on polls. I mean, all this adds up. But again, if 3 people are putting up one poll a day, you're not saying anything to Cal.
No, that's not going to have much of an impact, or none really.
Yeah, but suddenly you start to get some empirical data, and like might possibly put up a link to a poll we put up a month ago, and just the top thread, the poll itself, he had, I don't know, 10 votes, 12 votes. There were 28 comments, like 30 page views. I mean, again, okay, that poll itself isn't making or breaking anything, but what if that was duplicated 5,000 times? Now you're looking at 150,000 page views. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, considering we have very few people, and what happens when you start spreading this stuff around and passing it around, and dropping it on social media. This is where it all adds up, and I'm a big believer of just keep building, building, and getting the numbers growing.
Okay, well, this was a good update again. Uh, I think you're in a different background there.
Yeah, I'm not at home, so right now I'm sitting out on a porch, and I started, it was daylight. It was
Okay.
a little bit more visible where I decided to set up camp, and the sun left, and now I'm kind of on a dark porch. That's why I look like I'm, you know, in a dark alley or something. But
I'm like, what?
yeah, it's not your life, not anything with your feet. The only thing we can stress is get involved, and that was the whole point of Leo Glossary. That was the whole point of using the links. All this stuff builds, and just keep layering it.
Okay, well, I think we're gonna go for tonight, so you can do whatever you're doing.
Yeah, get out of the dark.
Right. Okay, well, have a nice evening, everybody, and we will see you here again next Monday night.
Ciao.
Good night.